Welcome to Seasons of Life, a biblical perspective for how to navigate life's ups and downs. Do you feel overwhelmed? Or do you feel successful? Experiencing loss? This weekly 15-minute word of inspiration will motivate you to live with more wisdom and peace. Here is your host, Pastor Mercy Oduah.
Seasons of Life. This is a biblical perspective for overcoming your life challenges. My 15 minutes inspirational talk aspires to let you know that seasons of life are inevitable and to offer you a spiritual support and guide as you go through the ups and downs of life, especially the bad season, because this is where we have problem with. I emphasize that I am sharing my experiences from pain, hoping that they will benefit you as you go through the challenging times of life. Today is episode 17. If you are watching for the first time, you can always go back and listen to my previous episodes. And please kindly share this video with people around you, especially those that are going through challenging time, so that we can become a community of support. Forgive and let go are the two powerful spiritual armor that I want to discuss. Forgive and let go are two powerful spiritual armor that I want to discuss. You cannot forgive without letting go, and you cannot let go without forgiveness. Both go hand in hand. We go through pain from hurt and from bitterness and resentment every day, and this leads to heartache and pain. You must offend somebody someday, or somebody must offend you somehow, from betrayal, from broken relationship, family conflict, marital issue, toxic work environment, and these cause heartache and pain to us. But I ask, must we carry that pain for the rest of our lives? Absolutely no. We have to find a way to release our negative emotions for a brighter tomorrow. According to Paul Borsey, he says that forgiveness does not change the past. It does enlarge the future. Forgiveness does not change the past. It does enlarge the future. And I want you to know that the pain that we feel from resentment and bitterness and anger and malice, they are connected to increased risk of heart disease. Yes. According to Yoshi Shanda, he wrote and published an article in the American College of Cardiology in the year 2009. And in this article, he presented how heart disease is connected to bitterness and anger and unforgiveness because of what it does to the body. When you are in anger, when you are in resentment, your body produces some chemical that fights you. And the stress of that affects your heart. So we can see that unforgiveness is very destructive. We must find a way to release those negative emotions so that we can move forward in the right direction. We often encounter headline stories where someone forgives somebody who has done them great harm. Yes, in the news, in social media, you come across somebody who just decided to forgive somebody who has done them great harm. There was an incident of a couple where their only child was killed by a drunk driver. The only child of this couple was killed by a drunk driver, and on the week of her graduation from college. It was a very sad story. The couple were enraged for months, going to years. Finally, the drunk driver was sentenced to life imprisonment. But down the line, God started touching the heart of this couple to forgive the drunk driver. And guess what? They did. They forgave and let go of their pain and hurt. And to prove that they had forgiven and they had let go, they visited the man in prison and they forgave him right there in prison. Can you imagine? We can see that this couple understood the power of forgiveness and letting go. They definitely understood the power of forgiveness and letting go. How can you forgive a man that killed your only child? It is only by the power of God. So, what does the Bible have to say about forgiveness and letting go? What is God's view on this topic? Because this is what this video talk is all about. I present the world system and then I bring the biblical viewpoint which we ought to follow as children of God. What does the Bible have to say about forgiveness and letting go? I want you to know that you can find the answer in the famous prayer that Jesus taught his disciple in the book of Matthew chapter 6. It is called the Lord's Prayer. Verses 6 and 14, you can find out that God wants you to forgive. God wants you to forgive that person, that family member, that co-worker, that stranger, even your neighbor. God wants you to forgive. So God is on the side that we should live a life of forgiveness. And I want you to know too that in verse 14, you can see that if you don't forgive others, how do you expect God to forgive you? So your forgiveness is also what will attract God to forgive you. You cannot hold on to people's hurt. You cannot hold people in bondage, in bitterness, and in unforgiveness and expect God to open his arms. You have to learn to forgive because that's what God wants you to do. When you hold on to unforgiveness, not only does it attract physical sickness, it can open the door to spiritual attack in your life. Yes, because the enemy thrives on resentment, on bitterness, on anger and forgiveness. The enemy thrives on that. And we can see that in the book of John chapter 10 verse 10, which tells you that the enemy has come to kill, to steal, and to destroy. And the ways that the enemy uses are through forgiveness, resentment, anger, and holding on to grudges, refusing to forgive. So when you are in that state of mind, you are open to the enemy's attack. And the enemy has come to kill, to steal, and to destroy. Another biblical perspective on forgiveness that I really like is in the book of Proverbs, chapter 17, verse 22. What does it say? It says that a merry heart does good like a medicine. A merry heart does good like a medicine, but a broken spirit dries up the bone. Do you have a merry heart, or do you have a broken spirit? Maybe your spirit is broken by unforgiveness. You need to have a merry heart. And the merry heart is a heart with joyful disposition. A merry heart is a heart free of unforgiveness. A merry heart is a heart of forgiveness. And that is where God wants you to be, because it attracts good things to your life and to your destiny. I want you to know that forgiveness is like a medicine that you take every day. And forgiveness is God's medication to us. You apply that forgiveness to yourself and to others. Sometimes there are things in our lives that we need to forgive ourselves from guilt, especially. Whatever that you're feeling guilty of, it is time to forgive yourself so that your heart can be merry. And all the grudges that you are holding against your family member, against your co-workers or neighbors, it is time that you forgive them so that you can have a merry heart. You cannot have a merry heart with unforgiveness. No. If you have bitterness and resentment and unforgiveness, your heart is not merry. Your heart is dark. You need the light of forgiveness to shine. You need to apply the medicine of forgiveness. I want you to know that forgiveness and letting go has a healing power. It is therapeutic. It heals us spiritually and physically. You see, in medical practices, the nurses give medication following the 5 rules of medication. The nurses give medication following the 5 rules of medicine. And you may say, I don't know how to forgive, or I have forgiven and yet I still feel angry. It is understandable. But I want you now to follow the 5 rules that the nurses use to give medicine to their patient. Remember, I said that forgiveness is the medication given to us by God because it is very therapeutic. It has a healing power. And what are these 5 rules that the nurses use to give medicine? They are: rule number 1, the right patient, the right medication, the right dose, the right way, and the right time. Yes, the nurse must give medication following these 5 rules: the right patient, the right medication, the right amount, the right dose, and the right time. So let us see how we can apply this to forgiveness, because forgiveness is a spiritual medication given to us by God. We have to learn how to forgive. It's a powerful word, forgiveness and letting go. So rule number one, the right person. So the nurse, before she gives medication, she must make sure that it's the right person. So as you want to give forgiveness, as you want to forgive somebody or forgive yourself, you have to identify who you want to forgive. You don't generalize by saying, my family member hurt me, my co-worker hurt me. No, you have to identify, is it your uncle, is it your brother, is it your mother who hurt you in your family? In your place of work, is it John or Peter or Jane that hurt you? Who hurt you? So you have to identify the person that hurts you, just like the nurses identify the patient to give the medicine. And this is supported even in the Bible, in the book of Luke, chapter 17, verses 3 to 4. It says, if your brother or sister sin against you, you must forgive. So you see, it is identify brother or sister. So you have to identify. Rule number two, you have to give the right thing. The nurses give the right medication. They must make sure that the medicine that they are giving to the patient is the right one ordered by the doctor. So as you give forgiveness to people, you must make sure that you are giving forgiveness. You are going there to give forgiveness and to let go. You are not going there to judge or to criticize or to compromise. No, you are going there with the right attitude that I am going there just to forgive this person, just to make peace. So you have to know, you have to identify what you are going to do, and that is to forgive and to let go. And this is supported in the book of Luke, chapter 23, verse 34. Jesus was able to identify in prayer by telling his father to forgive those who criticize him. He knew what he wanted the father to do. He said, Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they are doing. So you have to know that you are going to offer forgiveness. Then rule number three is the right amount. See, the nurses, they must make sure that they are going to give the right amount ordered by the doctor, not less, not more. So in forgiveness, you must make up your mind that you are going to forgive entirely without reservation. Don't forgive half-half. Forgive completely and let go completely. And this is supported in the book of Matthew, chapter 18, verses 21 to 22. In this, Peter asked Jesus, how many times will I forgive my brother or sister? And Jesus said, 70 times 7. In other words, continue to forgive them as long as they are with you and you are still in this world. People are going to hurt you, and you have to continue to make up your mind that you're going to forgive them. There is no limit. Live a life of forgiveness. So that is rule number three. You have to forgive entirely without reservation. Then rule number four is the right way. Nurses must make sure that they give this medication through the right route or way. That is it to swallow or is it through the IV? So in giving forgiveness, you must do it the right way. And the right way is to go to the person and talk to that person. Go to the person and offer that forgiveness. Do not send a text, because everything is through the text now, or send somebody on your behalf. No, you go or you call, let the person hear your voice, let the person hear you say, I forgive you and I let go. And this is supported again in the book of Matthew, chapter 18, verse 5. It says, if your brother has hurt against you, go and tell him his fault. You see, everything we're saying here is supported in the scripture. If your brother has hurt against you, go and tell him his hurt. Don't sit back and bear grudge without him knowing. Don't sit down and internalize it and carry it without him even knowing that he has hurt you. So you have that responsibility to go and make it known to him. And the fourth point, the last point, is the right time. The nurses must give medication in the right time. Is it supposed to be taken in the morning or in the afternoon or in the night? It is important. Timing is important. Time is everything. So in giving forgiveness, in offering forgiveness, you must do it on a timely manner. You must be conscious not to let this issue or whatever it is last a lifetime. Do not make an ancient history out of it. And again, it is supported in the book of Ephesians, chapter 4, verses 26 to 31. It says, do not let the sun go down on your anger. Do not allow the sun to go down on your anger. In other words, make peace, because the devil will take advantage of that time that you're spending. It takes you time. The enemy has taken over, making it difficult now for you to forgive. So as I close, I ask you, what is in your heart? Is your heart merry, or is your spirit broken by the grudges that you carry, the pain of hurt from family members, from people around you, or from co-workers? It is time to release those negative feelings and emotions, because they are toxin in your body. You need to get this toxin out of your body through forgiveness and letting go. So as I close, I want you to meditate on the book of Proverbs, chapter 17, verse 22, that says, a merry heart does good like a medicine. A merry heart does good like a medicine. May the Lord bless you, and may the Lord give you the grace to forgive and let go. Shalom, and see you next week.
Thank you for watching this episode of Seasons of Life. Until next time, be well, and may God bless you.